You want to know who somebody really is? You don't listen to what they say. You got to watch what they do, especially when nobody's watching. Do they return the cart? Do they pick up trash that isn't theirs? Do they clean up their own mess without being asked to? That's who they are. Not the words, it's the decisions, the small moments. You can say that you have integrity, and a lot of people think that they do, but I don't listen to what people say, and you shouldn't either. You should watch what they do, not just when it's easy, not just when it benefits them. Watch how they move when nobody's applauding their good deeds. Watch how they treat people who can't do shit for them. And people are watching you too. Your kids, your spouse, your friends, shit, even strangers. Like when you do something good in public, right? When you hold that door, when you help somebody or you show somebody respect, you give other people permission to do the same thing. And that is what integrity is. Not the words, but the example. And while we're here, when you go to return your Amazon stuff at Kohl's, do this. So when you go to return your stuff, usually they give you a 10% off coupon, right? And if you're not going to use it, don't just throw it away. Go find somebody and give it to them. And if you're super introverted and there's no way that you're going to go and walk up to a stranger, cool. Just leave that coupon somewhere noticeable where somebody else can find it that's in there shopping. And I guess like if you don't have a Kohl's near you or you have no idea what I'm talking about, forget the coupon thing. Just find a way to do something nice for somebody for no reason at all. Because that's the kind of stuff that matters. That's character. It costs you nothing, but it makes the world around you a little bit better. And if you say that you want more out of life, then you got to start checking in and see if your choices actually match what you say that you want. You got to ask yourself, are you living in a way that your kids, your spouse, or even yourself can actually respect? Because here's what I see all the time. People say all the right shit, but they're still failing in those small moments. They're still lying, still cutting corners, still avoiding hard things. You say that you want better, but you leave trash on the ground. Or you walk past stuff that's not your responsibility. Or you ignore people who clearly need help just because it's inconvenient. Doing the right thing's not always convenient. It's not always clean. It's not always quick. It's not always comfortable. But that's what makes it the right thing, because it costs you something: time, effort, comfort, or your pride. A person's character shows up, especially when things are inconvenient. And most people keep missing those small moments. And then they wonder why their whole life feels off, or why they feel stuck, or why nothing's changing, even though they keep saying, I'm trying, but I'm trying. The truth is, you wake up with no plan. You waste hours a day on your phone, but yet you say you want to feel better, but you keep on entertaining negativity or negative people. You keep putting up with people draining you or people that add nothing to your life. But all of those little instances are slowly pulling you out of alignment. And then you wonder why you're tired or you're irritated or you feel disconnected. That's because constantly living out of alignment, it's gonna wear you down. The life that you say that you want, it doesn't match how you're actually living. You can't build a strong life on weak decisions. You can't create alignment with inconsistent actions. And you're never gonna feel right as long as your actions keep contradicting what you say that you want. You know, I've discovered most people ain't struggling because they're bad people. Most people are struggling because they've let too many of these little small compromises slide. And those small compromises are what's actually costing them the life that they could have built. At some point, you got to take ownership. You got to stop running on autopilot. You have to start deciding the kind of person that you actually want to be, and then start acting in accordance with that decision every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's inconvenient. Because here's the truth. You don't lose integrity all at once. You lose it in those little moments, breaking a promise that you made, taking the easy way out when no one would notice, or, the famous, that ain't my problem, when you knew that you could have helped. And you do that enough times and you start jading yourself. You start expecting the worst in people because that's how you've started to show up. And before you know it, you're living a life that doesn't even match the standard that you thought you stood for. Oh, and then there's the people that live with what I call selective integrity. I know a dude who would give you the shirt off of his back, generous, always down to help if asked, right? Hell, even if he wasn't asked, he shows up. So he's awesome in that regard. But the moment that he feels slighted or disrespected or offended, you can guarantee that he's on the phone with one of his other friends talking shit about you, even if he considers you a close friend. Mind you, this is offense that he feels. It may not have even been intended to offend, but one small offense and all that character goes out the window. And that's not integrity to me, because who you are when things don't go your way, that's the real you. If your values only apply when you feel good, they're not values, they're reactions. And that's what a lot of people get wrong. They show up with integrity in some areas some of the time, but in others, they're completely out of alignment. Mind you, it's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. And look, you're gonna mess up sometimes, but it's about noticing when you slip and getting right back into alignment. A lot of people will mess up and then they stay off track out of shame. But growth is about realignment. It's not about pretending that you never fall. We're all gonna fall. But also, when I say consistent, I don't mean being consistently helpful when it's easy and consistently shitty when you're offended. I mean consistent in your character, consistent in how you show up, no matter how you feel. If your values disappear when you get uncomfortable, they're not values. And that's integrity. Doing what's right when it's inconvenient, when nobody's watching, and when nobody says thank you. You want to know what real integrity looks like? Let me show you. People think integrity is just about like telling the truth or not breaking the law or telling the truth when it's hard. And yeah, that's part of it. But real integrity is who you are when there's nothing to gain. It's how you show up when nobody's watching. It's how you treat people who can't do shit for you. Let me give you a story. I know a guy who was walking into a grocery store one time with his son. His son was about 4 years old at the time. And as they're walking up, there's this older woman struggling to get a shopping cart over the curb. Now, she wasn't asking for help. She wasn't making a scene, but she clearly needed a hand. And so the guy walks over, grabs the front of the cart, lifts it up over the curb, and then sets it down on the sidewalk and just walks away. Like, he doesn't say much. He just helps and keeps walking, right? And as they're walking off, the son asks, "Why did you help her?" And so my buddy looks down and he says, "Because that's what we do. If someone needs help and we can help, we help. It's who we are." That's integrity. It's not something you turn on when it's convenient. It's something that you live out every day, especially when your kids are watching. And that means apologizing to our kids too. When we blow up over something minor or we're wrong about something, don't wait until later either. And don't passively apologize. Sit them down, get on their level, look them in the eyes, and apologize sincerely. Because when you model humility, you give your kids permission to be honest about their mistakes too. You're showing them what it means to take accountability. And that kind of example sticks. There's another story I just thought of. I know another guy. So he was driving one morning and it had just started raining. And he sees this man walking up a bridge in the rain, seemingly on his way to work, right? So he noticed the guy didn't have an umbrella and he was just starting to get soaked. Now, most people would have driven right by and probably say something to themselves like, man, that sucks. But this dude pulled over. He rolled the window down and he told the guy that was walking in the rain to hop in. He didn't ask questions. He didn't film it. He didn't post about it. He just drove the dude to the other side of the bridge and to his work so he didn't have to walk the rest of the way in the rain. No credit, no reward. It was just the right thing to do. And that is what integrity looks like. It's not a performance. It's just, quiet character. If you see something happening to somebody and you hear yourself say, oh, that sucks, and you have the opportunity to help, then you should help, regardless of how inconvenient it is. Another friend of mine, he was with his wife one time and they were exiting a busy interstate. And as they were exiting, they noticed this older dude pushing his truck through the traffic. So apparently it had broken down on him, right? And he was trying to get to a parking lot. Well, my friend and his wife immediately agreed that he should get out and help. So his wife got in the driver's seat and he got out and began pushing this dude's truck. As my friend was pushing, somebody else joined him on the tailgate to help push as well. And the three of them got the truck out of the traffic and safely into a parking lot. This is integrity, doing the right thing, no matter how inconvenient. And this is also a prime example. When you do the right thing, you give other people permission to do the right thing too. And the more you live like that, the more that your life starts to feel right. Living with integrity actually feels good. Being dependable actually feels good. Being proud of how you showed up that day feels good. Being someone that people can count on. That's what life's about. I like to think of it like this. Your reputation is what people think you are. Your character is who you really are. And eventually, the gap between those two are going to catch up to you, right? So when you don't live with integrity, you start to feel off and you typically can't explain it. But you stop trusting yourself. You start second guessing your decisions. You wonder why you can't feel peace, even when there's nothing technically wrong. But it's because you're living out of alignment from the way that you were designed to live. You weren't built to be a shitty person. You weren't made to be selfish, reactive, or disconnected. You were built to care for people, to help the ones who need help, to do the right thing even when nobody's watching, to turn in the lost wallet, to pick up the paper towels off the bathroom floor, to hold the door. That's integrity. And it's the foundation of a life that actually feels right. And when you don't live like this, it catches up to you. It's not ironic that people I've known personally or have heard about, the ones who don't live in alignment like this, they're the same ones who won't put the cart back, won't pick up the trash, won't take accountability for anything that's not convenient. Their lives are a reflection of that. Chaos, disorder, broken relationships, constant stress, no structure, no peace, and it shows everywhere. If you want a better life, start by becoming somebody that you would respect, someone your kids respect. That's what real integrity builds. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to be solid, because at the end of the day, you won't be remembered for what you said. You'll be remembered for what you stood for. But the people who live like this, they build legacies because they didn't just talk values, they lived them when it was inconvenient, unnoticed, unrewarded. And I get it. The world doesn't exactly make this easy, right? Everybody's in a rush. We're distracted, we're overloaded, we're numbed out, and we're living in a culture that glorifies shortcuts and performance. But that's exactly why integrity stands out, because it's rare and because it still matters. So return the cart, pick up the trash, keep your word, do what's right, even when it's inconvenient. Especially then, be somebody that your kids can look up to and lead yourself intentionally. because the life that you want is built on this. The world doesn't need more influencers. It needs more people who influence by how they live when nobody's watching. I hope you got something from this. Take this, implement it into your life if you haven't already, if you don't live like this. This is the separator. Integrity. The more you put good shit out, the more good shit comes to you. Thanks so much. See you on the next one.